This month, New York City enacted rules allowing transgender people to use the bathroom of their choice. It's an idea Houston voters rejected last November. Now, a California couple is sharing their story about raising a transgender child. As John Blackstone reports, they hope to change perceptions.
Happy birthday, dear Ryland. Not long after her first birthday, Ryland Whittington's parents, Jeff and Hillary, learned their child was profoundly deaf. It wasn't until doctors put in cochlear implants that Ryland was able to hear for the first time. You hear that?
For a while there, we didn't know Ryland would be able to talk or hear or just communicate.
Ryland did learn to speak, but what she had to say didn't make sense to her family.
It's my sister, Billy, and I have brother, Ryland.
Ryland started saying, "I'm a boy." And at the time, we just thought it was cute. It was a phase. I thought maybe I would have a tomboy.
It was around 3 that we started to hear it, but around 4 years old was when it got very strong.
Jeff and Hillary struggled to understand. Jeff especially. You were trying to avoid it?
I was avoiding for a while. I knew that Ryland was going to have a difficult life with the cochlear implants, or at least that's what my perception was. So to add something on top of that, I just couldn't accept it. I couldn't picture it.
I'm sure what a lot of people can't believe about your story is that at 3 years old, a little girl can say, "I'm a little boy."
We could have ignored it, and we could have pushed it away and said, "No, you're a girl," and fought it.
Well, we did.
And we did.
For the first time.
But
it became so persistent.
They say Ryland demonstrated the key markers that doctors and psychologists look for in determining if a child is transgender. At the time, like so many people, Jeff and Hillary didn't get what it meant to be transgender. Now they do.
Watch the ball.
This is 8-year-old Ryland today.
Over the fence.
After much research, counseling, and soul searching, Jeff and Hillary say they came to the inescapable conclusion that Ryland's gender identity did not match the sex on her birth certificate. So at age 5, Ryland began living as a boy. When you see pictures of yourself when you were 3 and 4 years old, does that seem strange now?
Kind of. A little weird.
Seems a little weird?
Yeah.
Ryland remembers how he refused to wear clothes made for girls.
It was a little way of showing my mom and dad that I was a boy.
What makes you so strong, so determined?
I just had a weird feeling that I wanted to be a boy.
From the time you were very young?
Yeah.
This is just as likely to be hardwired as sexual orientation. It's not a choice.
Dr. Stephen Rosenthal is researching the long-term outcomes of medical treatment for transgender youth in a study funded by the National Institutes of Health.
There is no reason to believe that transgender people haven't been around since people have been around, just like any other variation in human biology.
Rosenthal says treatment is crucial because an alarming 41% of transgender people attempt suicide. But new research in the journal Pediatrics found that children who have socially transitioned to the gender with which they identify had normal levels of depression and anxiety.
We have seen so many kids who come into our practice, like Ryland, who have fully socially transitioned, and family after family tells us that as soon as they enable their kid to do this, everything turned around.
When you were researching and seeing that attempted suicide rate, 41%,
41%.
What was that?
awful.
It was horrible.
Awful.
You know, would we rather have a living son or a dead daughter? And, you know, we weren't willing to play with that statistic. We'd rather have a living son.
What are you guys doing?
I'm not kidding when I say that the child changed overnight. It was just, he was so proud all of a sudden and just so happy. I just felt so comfortable, and you could just see him ease up.
There's people who blame you, say you did this to him.
It would never be something that I would push on my child. In certain ways, it is and will make Ryland's life a little bit harder. And I don't want my child's life to be any harder.
There are decisions ahead, including whether to eventually give Ryland male hormones. It's a little while before puberty sets in now, but you've got to be thinking about that.
You know, thankfully, there's puberty blockers, which allow us to delay the onset of puberty for a period of time.
I think it is really important to note that we haven't done anything that isn't reversible.
Jeff and Hillary are sharing their story because they want Ryland to live in a world that accepts him.
Hey, Dada.
What?
Know how to make that tunnel?
Hopefully we just plant the seed of little conversations all over the world. People can just start understanding this more.
There's so many more people who are willing to go public with it and who are coming out and trying to help this world understand. So I think we'll get there. We'll get there.
John Blackstone, San Diego.
Coming up, another section of the Grand Parkway opens to cars soon, but today